warm welcome to Federal Special Program Capital Beat. Indian Express today published some spine-chilling details of the FIR, which was registered by the 7 women wrestlers against the Wrestling Federation chief, Brij Bhushan Sharan. And if you look at that FIR and the kind of details which have come out, will really make your head hang in shame. The way Brij Bhushan Sharan touched these women wrestlers inappropriately, that detail has come out graphically. Things like how he touched their buttocks, how he asked for sexual favors, how he asked them to take off their t-shirts. As a woman, it's really embarrassing to talk about details like these, but this is how Brij Bhushan Sharan conducted himself, and this is how he forced himself on these women wrestlers. If you talk to the BJP persons and all of them who have been attending our panel discussions, they have been saying that let the law take its own course, let the investigation get over. But what is happening to these women wrestlers is something which is very numbing. Brij Bhushan Sharan was supposed to hold a rally in Ayodhya on 5th June, soliciting support from the sadhus. He also asked for some amendment, we are told, in the POCSO Act. That rally today has got cancelled, and I'm told that the BJP source, from the BJP sources, that because of this FIR which has come out in the public domain, there is pressure now on Brij Bhushan to cancel or rather postpone this rally. But if you talk about the women wrestlers, what do these kind of details really mean for the women sports persons and also for the women in general in the country? Joining me now is a very special person who is one of the most renowned social activists of the country. She's a prolific academician, and she's also the director for the Center for Social Research, Ranjana Kumari. Welcome, ma'am, on the program. And my first question really to you is, ma'am, that you also must have read these details of the FIR which have come out. What do they really, I mean, if you look at these details, what is your first thought, ma'am?
Well, Nilu, I'm very happy that you are talking about the FIR because I had the fortunate occasion where I could discuss it with one of them. And I knew it, and I knew that this is something as serious as bigger a violation of dignity of these women. And not only these, I mean, they knew of the other cases, but when it happened to them, they really, and they kept silent for a very long time, because as you know, when you are challenging someone who is the supreme authority of whatever position you are in, then you certainly will be affected. And that's the whole fear that all women have, and certainly these women had. But we knew, and at least something which is as gruesome, as violative, as insulting, as humiliating, and as deep a sexual harassment as this man has been doing, touching them, not only just touching them, if they did not return the favor, then there were repercussions for it. For many girls could not follow their career because of this. And look at the way he had the audacity to go around, challenge the law, which with so much of struggle we got into place. POCSO was not an easy thing to get. And when we have the law, and then to bring some random person from somewhere to say, oh, this girl is not of this age. Their mother is sitting there. They have their mother-in-law supporting them. They have other women of the village supporting them. I mean, everybody who knows, if when the child is born, who will know better than the mother herself? So what kind of picture they are trying to paint? And all through they have try to deflect from the issue by bringing in politics in here, by bringing in all kinds of support that these girls are receiving to condemn whatever they are doing and to really trivialize the whole issue. So FIR is really, and there is no way Supreme Court of India would have directed the Delhi police to do this FIR, to file the FIR, unless there were these kind of real clear statements, indication. I won't call it evidence because still the investigation needs to be done.
But ma'am, what would you really say to the attitude of the Women and Child Development Minister, Smriti Irani? The day when she was posting her pictures from the new Parliament building, people started writing adverse comments, and obviously about these women wrestlers, what they were going through. They were having a harrowing time, and she started hiding her comments. Of course, we all know that there's a political compulsion why she's not speaking. But what would you really say? Here you have newspapers who are highlighting the plight of these women wrestlers, and you have a minister in the country who's a women and child development minister, and she doesn't even want to open her mouth.
Well, it's not the first occasion that she has not opened her mouth. There have been occasions of gruesome rape. There have been occasions where girls have been violated in whichever manner. They have not got justice, and she's not opened her mouth. Now the whole thing is that not only her. Did you see how Meenakshi Lekhi was running inside the parliament away from the media? Just one single question, one journalist asked that, wow, do you have any comments about wrestlers? Look at the way, I mean, she was, it's insulting to womenhood of this country that we all, depose our faith in these women who are leaders, who, at least there are some who are there, even if, but, mere ornamental presence, they have only ornamental presence in political parties because they are under the thumb of the male leadership. Right. For their political survival and for their future. But, I do not know how they can keep their conscience killed like this. And, the conscience, they don't have any conscience. They don't really look at the way. I know Meenakshi very well. I know Smriti. She considers me as her guru. In fact, publicly she has, because I have been one of the old ones in the women's movement and fought for all these rights. But I really feel ashamed and sorry that such kind of people who have strong voices, who have always raised their voices, when it is coming to political largesse, they are just surrendering themselves to male leadership and they're not saying anything. I mean, I'm really pained by that. I can tell you, because I knew these women very well, and but so sorry that women in politics and leadership are not able to assert themselves. And that's the biggest weakness that the women are at the moment experiencing. This is totally powerlessness,
right,
that we are experiencing.
But here, ma'am, you have a women and child development minister. She can do so much, but she is not doing. But on the other hand, look at the Khap panchayats. Now, they held a big gathering yesterday. Khap panchayats are supposed to be very regressive and, not known for taking up these issues like this very often. But the way the Khap panchayats have stood with the wrestlers, what would you really say to that?
Well, it's very important to understand the dynamics of this whole support that is coming to these girls. For example, Mr. Tiket, I mean, he's like the elder of the family. If you have your girls suffering in this kind of a situation, and also in this heat and dust, that the way they are sitting in Delhi, pushed around, beaten up. You saw that famous, the biggest role model for our country, for our women. This girl was, how the police woman was putting her boot on her face. So if this is what happens in the whole community, the whole Haryana people, at large are feeling very insulted. They're feeling very violated because it's their daughters who are sitting there. So I would say that Khap is coming forward, though Khap has been a very, very regressive institution. But when they are seeing it's happening to their own daughters, they're all coming forward. And I don't see anything wrong with this. As long as the girls are getting the kind of support, in the whole country is with them today. We all are feeling, initial period was very 3 months back, it was helplessness. After that, again, when they came back to the streets, it was another kind of, we were feeling that, nothing is happening, nobody. But now there's a large support. You should see the social media. It's full of these, pictures and photos. And I think all journalists, women like you, Neelu, you all have been such fighters in whichever way you have for the assertion of women's rights in this country. We all have to, and we have all come together again one more time, just like Nirbhaya. Just like when Nirbhaya rape happened, I remember. So I think it's very important for us to really be collectively fighting back. I do not know how long the system, how long the government, how long the people sitting in position of power are going to keep silent, but justice has to be delivered because it will have many other consequences. Not only that the girls will not be, and they will discourage, knowing all this, that there is this person sitting there who's trying to catch you by your buttock, by your breast, who's trying to molest you, who's trying to ask you to take off your clothes. I mean, who wants the daughters to face all this? Right. So one is the girls will be discouraged. Number two, that, there is this whole feeling of despair among us, that there is no sense of justice for women in this country. I mean, right. Beti bachao, beti padhao, bank account, take everything back, please. but give us at least dignity, the respect that we deserve. Sexual harassment law came after a lot of struggle. I remember when the drafts were going from one hand to the other, we were giving our input. The violator is not even once being questioned, and girls have been given all kinds of charges, political, this, that, and even they have been called all kinds of names. He is calling them mantra. I mean, what kind of a system are we living? So I feel that justice has to prevail, and we will fight, and we all stand by the girls, wrestlers of our country, their honor of our country.
Ma'am, what is the immediate thing which can be done about Brij Bhushan, apart from his arrest, of course? If you have to send out a larger message to the women of this country, what should Modi ji be doing at this point of time?
Well, I think three things. One, of course, the FIR, against FIR, police must call him to question. This is the first step, because it is a legal fight now. And Supreme Court of India. Second thing is suo motu act, cognizance of this order, Supreme Court should take. That, they have made an order and police is not acting on that order. They have they've filed an FIR, but there is no follow-up action after that. So that's the first step. Now, second step should be that at any cost, we have to see that people of this country reject anybody, everybody, and Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh should be the first person to be rejected by the whole country. He must be asked to resign from the chairpersonship of the Wrestlers Federation Association of India. He must resign his parliament seat. The party must act. Party cannot condone these actions. I mean, he's asking people to produce evidence. When you touch somebody's breast, what kind of evidence the girl can produce? Do you do it publicly? No, you call her to your room and then you do all this. So that's the second action, that he must be asked to resign. He doesn't have any moral this thing to resign. So the government should ask him to resign. And next, third thing is that never, ever politicians should be given any kind of post in sports. Why should politicians become the chief of the sports? Why? I mean, I feel that this is where they take start. They have double advantage. One, that they have advantage of being the supremo of whatever sports federation they head. And second, that they're already powerful politicians. Absolutely. All of them across the thing. And I had from the very beginning said that Anurag Thakur does not have the courage to call Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh. So why doesn't Prime Minister step in and start, and call him and ask him, what is all this?
No, but
what kind of behavior is this?
Anurag Thakur apparently says that there is a political conspiracy, and the law will take its own course, and the investigation, we should wait for the investigation to get over.
Anurag Thakur, I think I have not seen such a, lackluster, weak minister of, I'm just saying it with full responsibility, because after all, when Internal Complaints Committee was meeting, why didn't they call Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh to depose before the committee? Why did he not prove that he did not do it? Why is he asking evidence from the girls? It is he who has to say. So they have to corroborate. I mean, we are on almost like 30-35 committees of Government of India and other private agencies. We have to corroborate the evidence, the whole circumstantial evidence. Such and such date, on such and such time, this girl was there. She went to his room. He called her. And then, because in this kind of a situation, you can't produce a proof of a witness.
Absolutely. Yes.
So he has to prove he did not do it.
Right. Ma'am, I was talking to a number of sports journalists who have been covering athletics and, these federations they've been following closely. And they said that this wrestling federation is just the tip of the iceberg. If you go into the other federations, a similar thing is happening where girls from, underprivileged backgrounds, they come, they work hard, and then they have to face all this. So is it not time, the time is ripe, I think, ma'am, according to you, because people look up to people like you and, they expect a lot. So what, in your capacity, ma'am, what would you really say to other federations or other segments of the sports where a similar thing is happening, but the girls do not have a voice over there? They cannot gather enough courage. How can we really go to the depth of the matter and find out as to what is happening in other federations?
These federations have become cesspools of sexual harassment and sexual exploitation of young and, lower middle class girls who come with lots of ambitions, which is nothing wrong with that. I mean, they have to exceed, and they have to exceed, and for success, they will, they work hard. So I feel that, it's important. One is, as I said, that being all politicians out of it. Number two, let these federations be democratically elected leadership from the sports fraternity. Sports people will know how to respect the other sports person. You can see even in this case, so many international sports people are now speaking up.
Yes.
And so many national spokespersons have spoken up about that. So let the sports people handle the sports, the whole authority, whichever way it is. And Sports Authority of India, I don't know what they're silent about. Why are they silent? Why are they not? Are they not preparing these girls to get what they get? What kind of laurels they get for the country? So why are they silent? They should step in and say, no, we will not accept this kind of arrangement. You have to change the law and restrict these people to enter sports arena. Okay.
Absolutely. Ranjana ji, if you remember on 15th August this year, Prime Minister spoke, paeans about the respect and dignity of women. And that was a different story altogether, that, the accused in the Bilkis Banu case, they got a rousing welcome, in Gujarat. That's a different story altogether. But would you say that Prime Minister Narendra Modi has proved to be an anti-woman prime minister because of his silence, because of no stand taken so far? He has maintained a complete silence. Is it not time for him to speak up now?
Well, I would certainly say that he has not paid attention to women issues beyond chulha chauka politics, which is giving them a cooking stove or giving some small little money for opening a bank account or whatever. Whatever, and asking that women are using a lot of technology at the local level. Women and entrepreneurs are doing a lot of use of technology and promoting their own business. But that's not the only area women needs to be empowered. Empowerment is not just giving women a few things so that they become a better housewives or they become a better homemakers. It's to recognize them as a citizen of this country. We need to give women full right, equal right, as Constitution of India provides for. And for that, you really have to change your ideological positioning and your understanding about what really empowerment means. Empowerment means more women in the labor force. Empowerment means more women in the corporate boards. Empowerment means that you have more women in the leadership positions in parliament. These are larger issue. You have to have a feminist foreign policy. You have to have gender budgeting. There are these larger issues on which we have debated, discourse. I think those are the things which unfortunately, I don't understand why the present dispensation is not understanding all this. Incrementally, you say Beti Bachao, but what will Beti do? Suffer all this throughout her life? Or do you want to change the situation to, really? Absolutely. And if you empower them the way that in all the issues that I'm counting today, then certainly women will take care of themselves. You don't need to take care of them. You don't need to protect them. Protection is a patriarchal framework. Right. Because you've created situation where women need protection. Change the situation. Change the discourse. Women will not need that protection.
One last question, ma'am, and then I'll wind up the show, that the President of India herself is a lady. Droupadi Murm ji I'm talking about. Khap Panchayat leaders were saying that apparently they will, go with a representation and meet the President. Can the President also not speak and take some drastic action at this point of time? She's the head of the country. She's the head of the legislative body of the parliament.
In fact, Nilu, if possible, through your program also, in every program, I'm appealing to President of India that she should rise up to this occasion. We are looking up to her. She comes from a background where she has experienced every one of these situations. I'm sure she must have. None of us can with any great confidence say, oh, it never happened to us. It happened to every one of us. And I'm sure, and she's come through that whole process. She needs to understand what at this stage. So maybe she can have a private consultation with Prime Minister to intervene. Maybe she can make a statement. We are looking up to her, certainly, to come and intervene in this situation.
Right. Well, let's hope things happen for the better and for the good of the wrestlers. Thank you so much, Ranjana ji. It was wonderful having you on the program. And one appeal to the viewers who are watching this interview, subscribe to our channel, send us your feedback, and stay tuned to The Federal. Thank you.
Subscribe to The Federal's YouTube page for more news and updates.